And the next story is quite interesting. So I'm going to take a drink here and take a quick break. Okay, guitar and bass lovers. Bass lovers, actually, this time around. Rick and I were still doing prototype work for Leo, but at that point, just guitar work. And then he called my store one time and said, "Come on over, Rob." So I came over. Now, you have to understand that this man didn't really play an instrument. Word has it he couldn't tune it, but I know better because I saw him tune guitars. So that is not true, absolutely not true. I know he couldn't play, but he could plunk around, let's call it. So I came over and he said, "I've started on a bass and I'd like your input." So we looked at the design of the bass, and I actually mentioned to him, this kind of looks like a P bass, which Leo designed. He said, "Well, yeah, I think that the design of the P bass was incredible because it had everything that a bass player wanted. In my opinion, a bass player needs a good neck, a good pickup, a volume control, and a tone control. Everything else a good bass player can do with his fingers." There's an L1000. There's an L1000 right here.
There you go.
Here we go. And actually, this sunburst and neck is exactly the same as the first prototype he was playing with. So we were talking about pickups and design, and of course I like this cutout even better now that I've got a little bit more here. But this one's a maple neck. He also did a rosewood neck at the time. I don't think he was using ebony. I'm pretty sure it was rosewood. And so this is the pickup that we're talking about. I don't know if you want to pan in on the pickup itself, but as you can see, it's got two pole sets in here. So it's got magnets on both sides, and at that point, they were just solid magnet up there. And I mentioned to him, I said, "Do you think that we could make them the same as the guitars and have them adjustable?" So this is where the story begins. He said, "Yeah, I think I can do that." He called on another Friday, probably a few weeks later, and said, "Where are you playing?" And I told him I was playing at a local club here in Santa Ana called the Black Angus, 17th and Tustin. And that evening, he showed up with his wife, Phyllis, and Dale Hyatt and his wife. My wife happened to be there, and Rick's wife was there. And whether they trusted us being alone with all those women or not, I'm not sure, but they were there that evening. And Leo brought the bass. And it looked exactly like this. Anyway, the story goes like this. First set, I played the bass. It was great. I mean, it was playing great. I mean, just kicking butt. Really tight, really good feel. The tension on the strings was perfect. It wasn't too sloppy, it wasn't too tight, and it wasn't too staccato. The position of the pickup was centered, so I could do anything I wanted with it. So I was really happy with it. Went back and talked to Leo on our break and said, "Man, this is great. I don't want to give it back to you." So he said, "Well, we'll stay for another set." So I went back up on stage and started playing the bass again. Well, these pickups are actually set screws that can be adjusted up or down on both sides to get the string more balance between all four strings as far as volume is controlled. Am I right, Steve? That's correct.
Yeah, depending on
Yeah.
let's say the D is a little bit
right.
less, you raise it, or
Yeah,
if
or-
you want more attack on whatever string.
Yeah, or if you change the gauge of the string from a 105 to 100, etc. Okay, so I am playing. It's about the second song in, and we're cooking, and all of a sudden there's this incredible roar on the stage. I mean, it was just like we blew a speaker in the PA. So I said, "Okay, we're going to take a break," and we cut the band down. And Rick looked at me, "What's going on?" I don't know. So I went back and checked my amp. I thought, what could be wrong? I talked in the microphone, and I hit the bass, and I thought, "What's going on here? It's rumbling." I was using SVTs at the time. I had one on either side of the stage with one head. That way it was nice and punchy and loud as a trio. So I looked at it, and the pole pieces in the E and the A string had unwound themselves and attached themselves to the strings. The magnets were so strong, this was explained to me later, that the magnets were so strong, and the tolerance on these two pole pieces was not perfect because it was a prototype. What happened? Leo grabbed the bass from me, came up to the stage, grabbed the bass, and said, "I'll be back." So we took a break. Leo was gone, out the door. So we had to go back on stage, so I came back in on stage, and I had another bass with me at the time. I think it was a Yamaha short scale. It was white, if I'm right. So I was playing that the first couple of songs, and Leo came through, walking towards the stage, and between songs he said, "Here." So I played the bass, it was perfect. That set, got down, went over and talked to Leo and said, "What did you do? What happened?" And he explained to me that, just like I told you, these pole pieces the tolerance on these was not perfect. So they had loosened up and attached themselves to these strings. So every time I hit the strings, it would just brown, brown, brown. So what did you do? Now this is how people might get an idea of how smart this man was. When he went out, he took the pole pieces out, and he took a piece of floss and put it in the grooves and put the pole pieces back in. Now, up until I gave this bass away to a good friend of mine, those pieces of floss were still in that bass because Leo gave me that bass to play. And it was really kind of a stupid move, to use a good word there. That was probably one of the things I should have never done. Time not realizing what the significance would have been of having this bass, this prototype bass with these pieces of floss. So that's the story about the roaring bass, we call it. And Justin Tuss playing at 17th and Tustin. Ruben, Black Angus at the time, and went on to play numerous basses after that.